Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. Thank you for joining us on Morning Spring today. This is the Thursday edition of this program, Morning Spring on Western Spring Television, where we talk about everything important. If it is worth talking about, this is where you get to hear it first. And just like the motto of this station, we say it as it is. On the program, we look at various headlines, from major dailies, and then at the other side of that, we then converse, we'll talk towards everything is geared towards the public good, especially the development of these good people and this great nation called Nigeria. Femi Ojo is my name. We are back again in P Square Songs at Tune, and of course, Tope is here. Good morning, Temi Tope.
Good morning, Femi.
Yeah. How do you do?
You had a restful night. How did you do?
Yeah, very well.
So it's the penultimate installment of Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. And today we're supercharged to serve you some of the headlines making the rounds on the faces of the dailies. And then eventually bringing you quality analysis from the mouth of our analysts, saying it as it is, like Femi said. That's the motto of WSTV. My name is Temi Tope. Welcoming you on board for today's installment.
Yeah, and so much to really talk about, starting off from what we talked about yesterday, the back and forth on the public space in Nigerian parlance.
Several developments.
They call it basbos. That's what we call it in Nigerian parlance. For those that don't know, basbos is not just a musical beat. It's more like you do me, I do you.
Right.
Man, no go vex. That's what they call it. But this one, many people vexed. And so, just like Tope said, there have been so many developments on that particular incident, that fracas, that the military on one part, the executive, the civilian on the other side, and the rest of us,
the onlookers, the opinion givers.
These are the issues.
All right. So yesterday, the former Quas, he gave a statement.
By Quas, you mean Chief of Army Staff?
Chief of Army Staff, yes. He gave a statement. That's Buratai. Yes, the Buratai. He gave a statement and talking about the fact that he expected in the coming days an unreserved apology to the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. That's the President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for, more like weakening his, being a representative of the executive now in that particular incident. He expected an apology to the Commander-in-Chief, whom he had disrespected in a way. And then to the officer himself, who comported himself and was a good representative of the military. But the funny thing is that while all of these comments are coming, chief of which was from the former Chief of Army Staff, we had people, we had lawyers, and even ASEANs, speaking against the military officer, talking about his comportment, talking about the fact that he did not represent the military well. And it begs a lot of questions. What was he exactly to do? Should he have given way? Should he have broken the chain of command? Should he have gone against a direct order by his superior? It just leaves a lot of questioning. You begin to, task your brain, saying, what should the man have done? Well, if probably we had read the statements of the lawyers, will come from their angle. I'm sure they were coming from a legal angle. Let's see what the technicality, as they put it, was, from all of those things. But then we were here yesterday with our analyst, who said it was a show of shame, whatever it may have been. If that man could have comported himself, even if he was on the wrong, the civilian man right there, whatever power he was wielding, should also have comported himself in a manner befitting of his office, of his person, of his age, of his status. After all, he was talking about the military officer being probably in bibs and diaper while he was already a made man. So all of those issues, you should have said to him, see, you are a child, I am an elder. That is what the attitude should have been. But then we have people who are still saying, yes, Wike was doing well. It was all of so.
Well,
we're just in Nigeria.
You know the beauty of life, right? It's the fact, especially under democracy, is the availability and the opportunity for everybody to express their opinion. Right of expression actually is a one of those rights that we have in Nigeria. Right to live in, right to be alive, right to own properties, right to movement,
which
right
always
to
have
worship.
clauses.
Well, right to worship, freedom of worship, freedom of expression in this case, and but then they will tell you no right is absolute. Just like you said, no right is absolute. Now, here it is. Now, I expect lawyers actually to wade into the matter. And, you know, as far as we are concerned, during this part of the program, we can express opinion before we go into the crux of the matter. Now, everybody will always have a right to express. Do you know, I found like 2 or 3, 4 legs to this. Number one is the fact that from the place of comportment, Mr. Wike lost it, actually. Although some will say, as you know, sometimes some of these things depend on angles. I saw a more detailed video like 7 minutes from TVC, actually, and it started from when the man came in, you know, the motorcade and whatever, you know, the bike, although I have issues with that. You're a minister, let's say a governor, and you are going on that kind of a matter. Why are you having riders in front of you? Although that's another kettle of fish, you know, having riders. You are just a minister. Oh, all right. Some might say, okay, you are representing the president in Abuja because that's what the FCT minister does. All right. That's not the bone of contention. And then he came into the matter in a Gestapo fashion. He came down and headed straight to that place. You will see he's a man that was on a kind of mission of and the story started from the task force who went to that place, who were bounced off by those officers. And so they took their report back to the minister, who later more like, who are they? Oh, yeah, let's go. Yes. And then they went to that place and then they met those officers. And the video that I saw didn't start with that aggressive part, I must say it. It was more like, what's going on here? What's happening here? And then everything went from 0 to 10, you know. And let's now go back to the exchange. Some will say, just like I started, number one, Mr. Wike, because just like we talked about an elderly person and all of those things, they expected more from him. You have been a 2-time governor. You know what it means to be an executive for 8 years. Now, you have been a minister almost 2 years right now. And some will say, possibly when you get to that point and you saw the way those guys were behaving, you know that they were not going to budge. You didn't need all those back and forth. There are people you can talk to in which they will hear you. If they deem it fit, what they need is a call to that officer through possibly a superior officer to him and say, leave that place now. And what the guy would do is, yes, sir, and leave. He didn't do that. But because of his usual brash manner, this authoritarian posture of him, because he's somebody that says, you go, you go, you come, you come, you leave, you leave. So now, possibly in a long time, this is the first time Minister Wike is being challenged by somebody, and so he wasn't having that. That's one leg. Now, the lawyers that have dusted their wigs now, it had, you know, the SANs in Advocate of Nigeria, and it takes a lot for you to be a SAN in Nigeria. Actually, you have, you know, on paper, own your onions and all of those things now. And this is where we are. Some have been saying, let's start with. And you know, you say subsection this, section that, and it's always interesting. That's why I like law. And, you know, at one point, I think I will give it a thought. Now, some are saying, by virtue of the law, okay, our junior officer doesn't have a choice, whereas we're given a command by a senior officer. But they say the law must be a lawful order, whereas we're given another lawful order. Now, in this case, some of these things have their intricacies. Who dictates what is a lawful order? To a superior officer. Actually, some were saying, by virtue of our laws, those guys has no basis guarding a private property. actually. Now, that means we have to look at a systemic problem from the means to go and guard a private property. So we are talking about institutional issue there. Are they supposed to be there in the first place? That's the concern of some lawyers. That you are not even supposed to be there. This is a civil matter.
We touched on it yesterday on the show.
And somebody who's supposed to be in charge sees that something is wrong, and he came there and he met officers. The first thing is, are you even supposed to be on that property? You are supposed to mount the territorial integrity of Nigeria by virtue of your official duty. What are you doing? Even if you are attached to officers, let's say a retired, they're talking about the Air Vice Marshal now, let's say there is orderly, is he supposed to use them in that capacity? Another question is, if he has the right that they are supposed to work for him, the AVM, does he supposed to deploy them in that manner? If he has deployed them in that manner, those young officers, do they have a choice to say no? So we are talking about an institutional problem with the military.
Which goes both ways.
Yes,
Wike
of course.
also use them in his own capacity. I'm talking about his people.
Well, so when Minister Wike came, let's move forward, and he came to that particular point. Right. Was that necessary? You know, I was looking at some ministers with finesse, actually. But, you know, before you are deployed, many persons saw the deployment of Wike to the FCT as a strategic move. It wasn't just another job. Some things needed to be handled, and they need the weary laughing way. Pardon my manners. For those who understand, you cure craze with craze in a kind of way. You know, I don't know, but you will know. Out of all those ministerial appointments, to put Wike in FCT was a strategic one by the president himself, and you will see the kind of support he has been getting. I think you will virtually say is the most supported in his administration, because one or two times, some persons have tried to ask questions by virtue of journalists of those things. You see the push of the president to say, what do you want him to do that he hasn't done? He has had like one or two supplementary budgets, you know, approved for him by virtue of being an FCT minister. All right. So it is, quote and unquote, the big boys of this administration. Was that necessary? And now everything degenerated to you are a fool, you're stupid, you're a baby, this and that. And the officer was looking. So for the SANs, for the lawyers, I've read many of their position, is to say there was an institutional failure there. That officer didn't stand a chance to bounce off an FCT minister who had a duty to do, because ab initio, he wasn't even supposed to be there. But then his default is?
No.
Could he have said no to a retired Air Vice Marshal? They said the guy is a lieutenant in the Navy. Can you look at a Air Vice Marshal retired in the face and say, oh, God, I'm not going? That's
several levels down. I think it's third, just like
and you say, below. Sir, this is not lawful. I won't go. Can they do that? So we need to be talking about the institution of the military. The organs, how do they use the boys? Number 4, which I think is my round-off point for this occasion, is it might not be Wike. And we hinged on that yesterday. We've seen people use their connection to cheat people. Have you seen high-handedness on the military, men in uniform before? That's what makes many persons to I don't want you to use that word, but that's the reality, to hate them. They don't like them. They come, I've been at you know, this military civil engagement before somewhere. I was invited for that meeting, and I asked, why is it that in when you watch movies, when you hear what people say, when you hear military in abroad, people want to identify with them. They want to take pictures with them. When they are going, you see people say, oh, don't queue, come along. It is the right, when you come to a queue, either as a military officer or an elderly person, that's the issue with us in Africa. Because I'm elderly, you are just expected that once you just come from your car, everybody should do like this, and then they should. No, it's the right of those, it's the talk of those people to say, sir, please go. Don't come and tell me because you're an officer, you cannot queue. That's not respect.
It came from a place of respect.
Yeah, let's say there is, imagine for an ATM queue now, everybody is waiting, like 10, 15 people on the queue. All of a sudden, you came back down from your car, and all of a sudden, you are walking straight to the ATM point. And everybody, if you dare talk, you will be dealt with. That's the issue. Is that respect? People only keep quiet. It's the rest of us that will see you in uniform and say, oh, officer, what do you want to do? We should clap for you and say, for the good work you are doing, please go wide. You don't come and say, everybody, move away. In fact, if he's a superior officer, then 2 people will have to come down with him. They tell all of you to even shift because somebody wants to. That's the issue with us in Nigeria. Everybody uses power wherever they think they have the power.
Yeah.
So that was a power play. Just like you said, yes, it was a power play. Does it make it right? No. But the reason why Wike is getting that bash, because Wike is another Nigerian politician that the Nigerian people does not like. That's the issue. Because if something were, and I think this is a lesson for many Nigerian politicians, that you better behave well. If by any virtue, we hope not, that anything bad will happen to another Nigerian politician, people will rejoice. They will be very happy because they don't see them as part of us. That's the issue. If that thing has happened to another regular Nigerian yesterday, do you think the people will be praising the Yerima guy? No, they'll be talking about high-handedness. It's because they feel Wike just damn on social media, people are saying Wike has met his match. He has met his match.
Not because, his match, actually.
Yeah, not because they feel, oh, this guy, oh, what you have done is right. Not because they believe he's always the powerful one. Somebody don't stand up to him. And
yesterday, he became the underdog.
You know, and that is the issue with us. Many uniforms should take caution as well. I've talked to a friend of mine who was a cool guy. All of a sudden, he got this slot, and then he went and he came back. And this guy was telling me that he went to a bank. The officers, you know, those guys, security guys were telling him, oh, you can use ATM, but somebody is using it. And the guy told me, I told him I cannot wait. Do you know what I do for the Nigerian state? Not everybody, I must use the ATM. I told him, guy, is that what you did? He said, yes. And the kind of work that he does, he cannot be waiting for anybody. And these are the issues. I should see a Nigerian officer in a canteen, and if I have the money, I will say, officer, please don't pay. Thank you for the work that you do for the Nigerians. That's the respect. It's not that when you come into that place, everybody should be shivering because you're an officer of the law. Is that not what happens? That is it. I'm on the road. You tell me to wait, and you're telling me, open your bag. You are not even telling me why. And if somebody will say, officer, why am I being searched? Oh, you have caused problem. So I think it's a multi-dimensional, dysfunctional system. So it's not really about the Yerima guy. People are just happy that Wike, so there's somebody that can talk to you, and you know you have to leave because whatever he came for, he didn't achieve it. But if it might not be Wike, you know, it might be Femi Ojo, it might be Temitope. Somebody might be dragging your land with you, and because he has connection, you won't have a voice. That is the issue here.
Well, yes, you're right. Having analyzed that passionately, and you've given a very, very well enlightened conversation now. Now talking about why Yerima stood out yesterday. The guy, even removing him from the military garb, putting him as an individual. He respected him. There was a courage to the man that Nigerians saw beyond even the military. I mean, yes, looking at when Wike handed him the phone and he began to speak with the superior. I mean, he was pocketing before his hands. The phone, he removed it and gave, the salutes that he was supposed to get. He gave
Although Wike's spokesperson, Larry Olayinka, was trying to model up that particular point in an interview and say, oh, he didn't even shrink. He didn't even do like he was talking with a superior officer. And people were saying, should he be crawling or lying down on the ground? It was a bit
from that particular point that people went to dig out the video again and take pictures and then circled it because I saw that. They circled their hands and all of that. So, see, just like you said, when something, that is why we always talk about the facts and the need to speak up in the face of any form of injustice. Because when it is dropped at your doorstep, that is when you begin to know how painful, how terrible oppression can be.
So much to really look into. It shows a dysfunctional system, actually. And people, the lawyers that are saying, okay, the officer Yerima was wrong. They're talking from the place of, was he supposed to be there in the first place? And it's an issue that will use people that are scarce. Nigerian military officers are scarce right now. And we have a lot on our hands. And like 3-4 officers are deployed to be guarding a property. For real, look at it. We are talking about America are coming, the US, they are coming, insecurity in the land, and they are using 4 or 5 officers of the Nigerian military to be guarding a private property. Is that not dysfunctional? Just because somebody can afford to put officers there. These are the issues. So much to really look into today. And, the newspaper segment is next. Stay with us.
All right, you're welcome back to Morning Spring and Western Spring Television. It's time to check what the papers are saying this morning. And now let's begin with this day newspaper here. And this says, Tinubu to editors criticize government policies, but don't compromise national security. And there are several writers right there. It says here, identifies irresponsible reporting, misinformation as antidotes to democratic stability. And there, the second rider, Uzodinma Idris, tasked editors to safeguard elections, rebuild public trust ahead of 2027 poll. One media against narratives that promote distrust and polarization. Nigeria must protect comment. Right. Beg your pardon there. Nigeria must protect current economic stability, says Obaibena. And right here, NGE seeks tax reliefs, low interest loans to rescue the stressed media sector. All right, right here. Well, it's a lot of charge. I mean, those are the charge, that should actually come from, a person, with a status like our president. But then you have several people. I mean, people who are not journalists, who are not, even in the broadcast at all, who would question some of those charges, like this, where the writer says, Nigeria must protect current economic stability, right there. All of those, several issues right there.
Well, because some will say, where's the stability you are talking about? And, for the president, say, criticize, but don't jeopardize national security. And it's always an issue, because many Nigerians believe so many things are being kept under the radar on the altar of national security. Don't talk about this national security. And these are the issues as well. So I think there's a thin line between credible and patriotic criticizing and who is on the other side, who will not want to agree and will put everything and say, don't talk about it. In as much you talk about this thing, you are jeopardizing our national security. And some Nigerians say, don't talk about national security is what got us here. And now countries of the world are offering some kind of help that possibly we are not soliciting.
Well, I think we're lawyers in our own way, serving as mediators between the people and government.
Right.
We should, bring about the discourse where we will talk about, impartially now, what the government is doing, putting the government on its toes, and then representing the people's mind, to the government, and also telling the people, making the people realize areas where the government is excelling, areas where they're failing, and all of those things. Those are, and then when the government is being criticized, especially when they're, they have not done so well, and it's obvious, they begin to see the media as,
an enemy,
unequal partners, partners who are not ready to, people who are not ready to partner with them. But, lots of issues, but then at the end of the day, journalists will always do their jobs, will always be all right.
We should.
All right, above the nameplate right there, it says IHS Holding Limited Chairman Sam Darwish credits Nigeria for strong Q3 earnings. Right below that, PDP and COC, our national convention will go on as scheduled on Saturday. We do not know what side is
big trouble in Little China.
Which side's narrative we're going to follow. Just yesterday, it was saying there was another court injunction that was to stop the convention.
Another Abuja High Court.
Again, this is saying it will go on. So let's see. Another power play in a few days. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right. Those headlines right there on this day online.
It's not soothing, and it's not the best, because all of a sudden the judiciary is being made like a pawn in all of this, because this is forum shopping. You just say, oh, let's go to the court, stop it. Another person goes to the court, open it, and the other one goes to the court. I say people should stop it, and these are court pronouncements, and these are the issues. And you talk about the judiciary, you talk about the lawyers, the bar and the bench, and all of these things. This is a party matter. Now, there was an Abuja High Court who said, because of this and that, the thing should not go ahead. Then there is an High Court who said, go ahead. And then there was another case instituted by Sule Lamido who was saying this and this and this, and the court has said, no, it should not go ahead. You don't be surprised by today, one court from somewhere, from Akure, from Port Harcourt might say, oh, go ahead. And it seems people will just be, confused. Politicians will just do what they think they need to do using the Nigerian state to achieve their selfish aim, because this is more like a power play right here, right now. All right, from that, let's see the Vanguard for today. The Vanguard newspaper. Tinubu backs NG's proposal for media tax relief and VAT exemption. Talk about the cost of running business. It's quite a lot. And here, Riders says irresponsible reporting undermines democratic stability. Ask editors to criticize but not damage Nigeria. There won't be electoral integrity without democracy. Uzodinma. As NG seeks tax relief, low interest loans to rescue distressed media sector. And of course, you see the picture of Mr. President at the Guild of Editors conference. You see the governor of Kogi State, Ahmed Ododo, Minister of Solid Minerals, Minister Alake there, the Nigerian Guild of Editors president, Mr. Eze Anaba, former Ogun State Governor Chief Olusegun Oshoba, and of course, Mr. President, Jerry 21st All Nigerians Editors Conference 2025 held at the State House Conference Center at the Villa in Abuja. Just above that, Wike, no officer or soldier on lawful duty will be punished. Defense Minister. No officer or soldier on lawful duty will be punished. Excuse me. Defense Minister. And Presidency clarifies Trump's threat not behind NGX sell-off. So what's behind? PDP court extends order permitting National Convention till Friday. An inadequate gas throws geometric power into first blackout in 60 days. And on the sports scene, today is the day. Win or get out. It's as easy as that. 2026 FIFA World Cup playoffs. Super Eagles under pressure, undeterred. All right, from that needless controversy of the payments of their bonuses and the boycotting of a match, trading session, all of those things, we are told that the issue has been handled and the boys are geared again. What I want to say is I wish the Eagles all the best. You will not love the wrath of Nigerians if you dare lose, because people will say una too like money, and they won't see the last of it. The best that they can do for themselves right now is to win today by any means necessary. And here, right of way crisis, telcos operating cost soared to 5.8 trillion naira, and that will be all from the Vanguard for today.
All right, so let's move now to the Punch newspaper. Here, the banner headline says, Wicked Naval Officer Clash. Ex-generals fume as federal government orders probe. Hence the rider, FCT Minister Yerima face-off sparks concerns over civilian-military relations. That issue there. I think I like the headline. Ex-generals fume as federal government orders probe. Well, it's their duty to lecture us, or to lecture the minister as well as all the cabinet members. Well, how the military plays out.
But then there's a way there's a way they protect their own as well.
The military?
Yeah, of course. One soldier is always a soldier.
Yeah.
And so some might not see from unbiased view. Actually, they may see it as he's one of our own. We have to protect. But then it's a good thing that a probe is being muted in this particular case. We wait to see what happens.
When I saw probe first yesterday, I said, what are we probing exactly? What is there to probe?
Well, maybe there is more than meets there.
Of course, we'll see. We'll see. But I think as much as the military is lecturing, the executive, I wonder what stand they will be upon to lecture the military. That's why we even being on a right, and I'm speaking from that, I'm saying that categorically because when you're given an order, you obey to the letter. And that was what the man was doing.
Let's wait for the proof.
It's not in the court of law, so it's still open to conversation.
Yeah.
So that military man, he was not the problem. Those who gave the orders should have been the problem. They should have been faced by the minister. Right. So I'm just saying now, if the military men are fuming, that's because they say that when you I don't know how to put it in English.
Let's wait for the problem. Let's just wait.
All right. All right. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. All right. So below the pictorial, everything's right here. It says, "Be fair, truthful in government criticism." Tinubu tells editors. That's still coming from the editors conference yesterday. And just below that, PDP insists on Ibadan Convention amid court orders. That's on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Mobat's family demands fresh probe. Bars wife from using Sony. Another germane issue. The name is hers. Well, we'll see what goes. That is on pages 4 and 5 of the paper. OPEC report shows Nigeria underproducing crude again. That's on page 21. Beside the nameplate right there, Bamidele Carlo Difa on a large plot to impeach Akpabio. That's on page 7 of the Punch newspaper. And just to the top strip, National Assembly approves Tinubu's 1.15 trillion naira domestic loan. Reps probe 20 trillion naira abandoned federal properties. And beside that, my critics now praise me, says Obasanjo. That's on page 17 of the Punch newspapers. That's a time to gloat.
All right. A Nigerian Tribune is next. Just quick one. Damagum-led NWC affirmed Saturday's convention blames APC for PDP crises. Blames APC for PDP crises. Interesting. An alleged plot for one-party state. Convention will go as scheduled on Saturday. Committee and court extends interim there. All right. So much Makinde making Ibadan livable. Obasanjo says at inauguration of Mega Boss Terminal. And senators clash over delineation of words in Warri by INEC. I'm tired of moving motions without results. Benue lawmaker laments rising headers killings. That's one. I am tired of moving motions without results. Benue lawmaker laments rising headers killings. And Tinubu approves construction of Itaure, Aramoko Adoekiti, Aramoko Ijere Factory roads. I'm sure so many persons will be happy about that. But it's not just about the approval. Put the approval, see the light of the day as soon as possible. That's the issue. I remember the when we learned that the Ilesha Akure Ilesha, that axis has been approved till now. The thing is still there, and 2025 is just I think less than 50 days away right now. And these are the issues. It's not just about the approval. If you
want those done, you know what to do.
Okay, all right. I will ask you after the show. That will be all from the Nigerian Tribune. We take a pause right now. When we come back, we speak to the issues. Stay with us.